We have an update to the story that the Daily Mail broke earlier this month, claiming that second gentleman Doug Emhoff slapped an ex-girlfriend back in 2012. But the reporter who broke the story says the woman, called Jane, spoke to him, and she says Emhoff hit her so hard she spun around. Through a spokesperson, Emhoff denied the incident. NewsNation reached out to the Harris campaign for a statement. We have not heard back at this time. Joining us now, once again, is Josh Boswell, the author of the article who spoke to the woman identified as a prominent New York City lawyer, only known as Jane, moving forward here. Josh, welcome back. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
You and I spoke, just a few weeks ago about your exclusive reporting on this story, but she hadn't talked to you directly for your initial story, correct? This is all new.
That's right. Yeah, Jane was initially, and we're calling her Jane, that's not her real name. She wants to remain anonymous. She was initially very scared to come forward because these are very powerful people that we're talking about. She was worried about retaliation, and so she didn't want to do an on-record interview. I did speak to 3 friends of hers who, she told contemporaneously about the event. One of them, immediately after it happened, she called him and told him what had happened. But then seeing Doug Emhoff deny it through a spokesperson, and then also continue this rhetoric of being a feminist and an ally to women, as the campaign is putting him forward as, really just tipped her over the edge into thinking, I really need to speak out about this.
Yeah. Did she also say anything more about why she came forward so close to the election and not sooner?
Yeah, so this is something that she's not wanted to speak out about. She's not wanted to kind of potentially blow her life up and put herself in danger by talking about this. But it was only when the campaign started presenting Doug to the nation as a feminist, and in interview after interview, going into that theme that he is this new face of masculinity, that it really became an issue for her that she felt she had to speak out about. And that only really started happening in a big way this summer. And of course, when Kamala became the Democratic nominee.
Yeah. Aside, and I've read your pieces. I see the blurred photos. Aside from those photos of the two of them at the same time, back in 2012, what other evidence has she provided to you to corroborate her story?
So there's been a rigorous process of investigation here over its multiple months now. Some of the documentation she or her friends provided were emails between her and people who went to the gala event in France where she says Emhoff slapped her. That email is talking about her being there with Emhoff, the hotel that they're at. It's an email sent at the time. There's also the itinerary, their flights together. So I can see that her and Emhoff flew to this location at that time. And there are, other messages and documents that we've received.
Yeah, with a lot of timestamps on them. And lastly, I just find it interesting, Josh, that this story has gotten very little play. If this were one of Donald Trump's exes, your exclusive reporting would be on the front page of every mainstream media outlet.
I think that's true. And I have to ask myself, why is that? I've been looking at past Me Too type cases, the kind of things that come out since 2018, rich, powerful men being accused by women of sexual or misconduct or violence. And there are stories with less evidence that the media, mainstream media, across the board have published about. And this story, for some reason, they are not. You have to ask yourself, why is that? Why is it that suddenly the bar is supposedly so much higher here when there is really good evidence, when we have the accuser coming forward herself, making these claims, backed up by contemporaneous witnesses and documents? I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, we will keep a spotlight on it right here at NewsNation, that's for sure. And just to reiterate to our audience again, NewsNation reached out to the Harris campaign for a statement about these allegations, but have not heard back at this time. Josh Boswell, as always, thank you, sir, for your time and your reporting.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.